second year in a row that we get a women's triple threat match for the women's championship belt. We have Jazz making her WrestleMania return, along with Trish Stratus, and a new face of the women's division, Victoria,
Lisa Marie.
or as she's known as Lisa Marie. Victoria is her name here, so let's go ahead and break it down here. Now, Maria, this match that we have here, it goes for 7 minutes and 17 seconds.
Right, for the WWE Women's Championship, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to all of the ladies, all looking fierce, all looking super strong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of Trish and Jazz. I feel like we get a few good spots and some good moves by Jazz. She power bombs Trish, and that was a lot of fun. We get a handstand hurricane from Trish, and I haven't seen a single leg crab in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So tip of the hat to Jazz. But with that said, it wasn't really a favorite match for me. It was a pass. What do you guys think?
Wayne?
I agree. It was a pass for me. At this time in the women's division, it's like a hit and miss, with good matches. And you have Trish, you have Lita at this time. You do have some good female wrestlers, but it's still developing. And Victoria, will become a good one because she ends up holding the women's title like a couple times.
Right.
She has a great feud with Trish Stratus. That's one thing I remember about her, is having a great feud with Trish, for sure. Like, if I can think back to her career in WWE, like, I'd say her peak for me remembering it would be her feud with Trish. So I think that I don't know if that happened before this or after this. But as for Jazz, like, I don't know. Jazz wasn't like a big marquee wrestler for me back in the day, only because she didn't make waves. She didn't win any titles. She didn't stick around too long. She wasn't like a dominant force as they booked her to look like. They booked her to come off as this what we have today is like maybe like a Bianca Belair, like this smaller woman, but who's just packed with power, and I think they had something with her and they just dropped the ball with her. That's all. I just don't think at that time anything about me was like, ooh, come on, we gotta go. Jazz, she's wrestling. We gotta sit down and watch it. No. We'll eat dinner later. Jazz is wrestling. No.
That's fair.
It's not, it's not. So, like, this triple threat match was just like, let's be honest. Okay, it's 2003. I know me. I probably went to the bathroom. This was a bathroom break for me. Especially after sitting through a very, I guess you could say the Undertaker the triple threat match was pretty long, but this one was only like 7 minutes, 17 seconds.
Right.
I get it. We know further down the line why the card, where it gets bloated in time, but they're lucky to even be on because we see what other kind of women we have on the show. Just really shows what kind of screen time any kind of women get, and
that was a sign of the times for me. I'm like, holy shit. I was like, things are certainly different.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of curious to know, like, the exact time frame, like screen time that the Miller Lite Catfight girls got compared to the actual, like, women's championship match.
I feel like it was maybe about 3 to 5. We can definitely look it up to see what the airtime was. But
right,
it feels like a good 3 to 5.
They should have been about the same because they had those vignettes, and then they have the bed fight. Yeah, the whatever.
Cat fight.
The cat fight in the bed. There you go.
Yes.
So, what did you think of this?
This was a borderline match, and there's some good spots here. I mean, we do get Jazz had a long history, coming out. This is her second year in a row being in a triple
Yeah.
threat match. The previous one, she was the champion and she retained, I believe, because Dre was mad. Your co-host Dre was mad that Trish did not win the title in
That's right.
Toronto because that's where X8 was. So I mean,
Uh,
this time Trish actually wins, and there's a new
mhm.
women's champion. But I, they tried. I don't know why they tried a triple threat match again. Uh, I like booking wise, it doesn't make sense because, well, I guess if you're extending the story, and that's probably what you're referring to, that they end up feuding a little bit more longer between Trish and
Yeah.
Victoria.
Right.
But you could just easily still have that particular feud go on without having Jazz involved in this match.
Hmm.
And that's how I felt. It felt like this match should have just been a one-on-one, and it probably would have been better, especially if you're going to be allotting 7 minutes for this particular match. You know, one-on-one 7 minutes is more time for more moves, more spots, to be more of a cohesive mass than trying to have a 3-on-3, because then you're like, okay, now you're gonna get kicked out. Now I'm gonna
Mhm.
get kicked out, and trying to figure out the finish from there. So,
Yeah, it's fun when Steven Richard he gets in the ring,
hmm,
but that's the funnest part of this match.
Steven Richard. You know
yeah,
where he's from? He's
Where is
from
he from?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Is he?
Yeah,
Tell us more.
that's all I got.
He's from Philly. Okay, got it.
maybe Doyle will be able
It's
to tell us
Steven.
some more.
Yeah, it's Stevie. It's Steven
Stevie
Richards. Like
Richards.
what's
Yeah.
yeah, like what's there to talk about? You know, the guy didn't hang around
That
WWE
long.
that long. He was in Blue World Order. He was in WCW. He went to ECW. He was in WWE from '99 to 2008.
Mm.
Then he was and I think he was out of the company by like 2000. Yeah, 2008. Yeah, so
But for those of you listening, for those of you watching, if you fell asleep during the last match, wake up because this next match is pretty good.
Yeah. So we have 4 years running of a tag team title match that involves multiple teams,
mhm.
and this is a triple threat match between Los Guerreros. And you may be thinking, but there's only one Guerrero, and his name is Eddie. Guess what? He brought his nephew with him. Chavo Guerrero makes his WrestleMania debut, and they are facing off against the team of Rhino and Chris Benoit. And a tag team that's also making its WrestleMania debut. They are Team Angle, and they are Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. This match goes for 8 minutes and 48 seconds. Maria?
Well, I just want to say shout out to Chavo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's making the rounds with the Iron Claw,
Mm-hmm.
and he did some training for that movie, so he's
Yeah.
making his rounds
He
in
also did it for
Hollywood
Glow,
for Glow as
the
well.
Mhm.
Netflix show, and
So it's
so.
pretty cool.
Mhm.
I was really excited about this match. Wayne, what do you think about this tag team extravaganza?
You know what? This was an awesome match. Like, and you know who made it awesome? Eddie Guerrero, Benoit, Chavo, like all these guys. You had a bunch of good wrestlers in the ring, a good mixture of talent in there. It's just like the perfect chemistry for a great tag match. I mean, come on. Like for me, when Eddie and Chavo teamed up around this time, I loved it. I love all the shenanigans and shit they got into. The lying, the cheating, the stealing. I loved it all. Viva la raza. I loved it. But like, you know what? Shelton Benjamin, Charlie Haas, this was like peak for them. They were in Team Angle.
Mm.
I mean, that definitely was peak for both of them, especially Charlie Haas. Like, this is as far as you're gonna go, man. Like, this is the top of the mountain for you. Shelton Benjamin had a pretty not successful, a pretty decent singles career. He recently just left WWE, so I mean that's another guy who's still wrestling to this day. You know, a lot of these people on this roster aren't wrestling anymore. You know, so what can I guess what can you say about Benoit? You know, it is what it is. He's a good wrestler in the ring, and that's it. That's all you got to say about that guy. And then there's Rhino. You know, Rhino. They say he weighed like 275. I don't. That's what they said. Like I was like, I can't picture that guy at 275. He was a short dude.
Yeah, but he was a beast. He was
Girthy.
strong on top. And what's his move?
It's called the gore, but it's like it's a spear, but he called it a gore because he's a rhino.
From a gore from Rhino. That's 275 all day.
I mean, I believe now he's probably 275. He's definitely a lot wider.
Yeah,
he's
but
definitely
he was
more of a rhino than he ever was. But
all stock, all muscle. That guy.
And he's still wrestling, I believe. I believe he's still wrestling.
I don't know where, if he's like wrestling somewhere consistently, but I think he made an appearance in AEW for a match.
I did see that.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a guy who, you know, who I don't think he ever. No, he's never held a bigger title. Did he hold the ECW title ever? I assume so, right?
I would assume he probably held it before Vince bought it.
Yeah, definitely before, because then I remember he went to Impact Wrestling for a while. He did that run for a long time too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then he came back and did like a small tag team run. But he's been out of WWE since. But yeah, I mean, again, overall, I love this match. You had the great amount of talent in there, so much talent, and just put on a stellar match for a tag match. And by the way, you know, we did have the Raw tag titles, but they were on the kickoff show, so we never got to see them. But I always like the design of the SmackDown tag titles at this time. It was like they look like the original tag titles, maybe like the Attitude Era, and just little colors messed with, and it had just a little bit of blue, just a little bit to know it's SmackDown. Not like today, where it's like, hey, we're gonna make it look like a penny, and then we're gonna make the entire strap blue just in case you forget. So, yeah, I kind of like those older titles.
So I feel like this was a revisit for you. You sound like this is an excellent match, or was it a pass for you?
No, excellent match.
And for you?
Yeah, it was definitely a revisit for me. I recommend that people go out there and go look at this match. You figured that in the past 3 WrestleManias, we always had the previous 2. I think the other one was just a tornado tag, but there was some gimmick that was always involved. WrestleMania 2000, we had the ladder match between the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian.
Right.
And WrestleMania 17, we had tables, ladders, and chairs between the same trio. And then the previous Mania, we had the 4-way tornado match. The Dudleys, Billy and Chuck, I think it was Perry and Eddie. Dean Malenko and Eddie, and I forget. Oh, the APA. We're slowly getting into a possible one team versus another team. But the WWE at this time was very, very they had good workers for tag teams, and they had a lot of talent because of the acquisitions of the 2 previous companies, WCW, ECW. So they had a lot of experimenting to do. Like, you guys are a tag team. We need you guys out there.
Oh my gosh, yeah! So many different random tag teams thrown together, and so many just gimmicks. Like new gimmicks would come out. It was ridiculous. It was like I felt like every few weeks there was a new tag team. Definitely not as many as we have today, but just some of them were like just cringy too.
But I'm just curious.
Like the Billy
Okay,
and
so
Chuck.
Deuce and Domino, like, yeah,
Oh,
Billy and Chuck, like, yeah, dude, like, it's just like there's just some cringeworthy tag teams that just, ugh. And some that just never did anything even. But remember Heidenreich and Animal were together? That was a thing, like the new Legion
mm,
of Doom, like
yeah.
oh god, that was a thing. Um, like, but um, this is actually a special time too for you got to keep your eye on Eddie Guerrero because he does his thing with Chavo for a while, but
Mhm.
then Eddie starts to go on his own and become the WWE champion, and that's like in a few years. That's like less than 2 years because he passed away in 2005. So like so much happens between 2003 and 2005 with Eddie Guerrero,
Right.
and Chris Benoit as well, all the way up to 2006.
Mhm.
Uh, like just it's crazy when you just look at this roster now and you think like just in like 2 or 3 years time how much these guys develop, and then there's some that just fall right the hell off the map. So
Right. Yeah.
And what about you? Do you recommend that people rewatch this match?
I definitely do. I like to watch all three of these tag teams wrestle. It feels like it's just like too much cool, like a trifecta of cool.
Hmm.
So I was really excited to see this match. I thought it was great. You get some excellent wrestling, good spots. Like I said, don't forget Rhino. He gored all match long. And I do feel like Latino Heat should have won. But I'm not mad at the win either. So, Team Angle, they won, right?
Team Angle wins. Eddie gets a frog splash on and to break up a pin,
Right.
and Chavo and I believe it's Shelton
Mhm.
are in. No, Charlie is in the ring, and Charlie's trying to recover. And then Eddie goes after Rhino on the outside, and then Shelton comes in and gets the pin in the win because of the frog splash breakup that Eddie did. So
Yeah, so do yourself a favor and rewatch this match. Really good work, really good wrestling, and you get to see three tag teams, one problematic wrestler, like you said, Benoit, but some excellent wrestling.
all right. And then this brings us to our next match, which would be the fifth match in this card. We have a return.
The Heartbreak Kid,
The Heartbreak
Mr.
Kid,
WrestleMania,
Shawn Michaels, Mr. WrestleMania
the
himself.
showstopper,
Yeah.
the main event,
Returns.
yeah,
Mr. Main Event versus Chris Jericho.
the icon,
the Ayatollah of rock and roller.
the sexy boy.
This match goes for 22 minutes and 34 seconds. Maria?
As well it should.
Yeah.
It should.
What did you think? We've seen Shawn Michaels come back.
I was really excited, as you can tell. I'm a fan, and I mean, Sean versus Brett. I'm a Brett fan, but I was excited to see Shawn Michaels in the ring, and Jericho looks great. No scarf, but I love his wrestling gear, and I'm happy to see Shawn Michaels return. What about you guys?
Wayne?
Dude, the story for this was so well done. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Jericho was a fan of Shawn Michaels. He had pictures of him on posters of him on his wall. He was inspired by the way he wrestled. Like everything was taken from Shawn Michaels. If like he was trying to be the next Shawn Michaels, but at the end of the day, Chris Jericho ended up being his own, like uh talk about two of the like best in ring competitors at this time, like in the ring together. And I was so happy to see Shawn Michaels back. Uh, granted, like around this time, he also feuds a lot with Triple H because Triple H has gone through his reign of terror.
Mm-hmm.
But to see Shawn back, and just joined WrestleMania because I think he was going to pass on this. He didn't want to do WrestleMania, but I guess you found the right guy to work with Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all the the fantastic different holds between the two guys, the mixture of stealing moves from each other,
Yeah.
and how quickly this match it was a long match, but how quickly it ended. Oh boy, how
Mm-hmm.
quickly it ended. It ended with a really unique roll up, you know. Uh so I think that's a really unique way to end that kind of match. Not like they're both exhausted. Like we've seen how certain matches, like maybe like Taker and Shawn Michaels, how they kind of end. Like these guys
Right.
are winded and exhausted. But this one, it was just like, they're just hitting each other with move after move after move, countering each other because they're just so damn good. And then just it reminds me of like if you've ever played like the Wrestling 2K games, right? It's not like you're playing with a guy with a lot of health. You're playing with a guy who knows all the reverses, who can block everything that you're throwing at him. That's what it's kind of like. Like everything that Jericho would throw at Michaels, he would reverse it. But the same was with everything that Michaels would throw at Jericho. It'd be the same way. They would just reverse it. These guys are just so damn good, and I love this match. Like I think because of the heel face factor, obviously, like I was like, oh, Michaels has got to win
Mm-hmm.
because Jericho still wrestles today.
Right.
Another
Yeah.
guy on this card who still wrestles today, and we know Shawn Michaels isn't running NXT right now,
Mm-hmm.
but Jericho evolves through, and like holy crap, we're gonna see it too in the next couple of WrestleManias here. Jericho just evolves, it keeps evolving, and he just gets better and better and better, and he doesn't get stale. He has his ups and downs, but he just never hits that stale. He's always stays interesting, and Shawn Michaels stays around for a couple more years. And it's weird to think that he never holds another heavyweight title again. Like he comes back, he holds the world title one time at the Elimination Chamber,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's it. And I think it was the year prior, 2002. But yeah, that's it. And then like Michael's he has that kind of talent and that ability. Like he doesn't need a title to be relevant, and Jericho's the same way. Put these two guys together in the middle of the card too, dead
Right.
center of the card. So after you may have you may have been kind of tired from some of these other matches, they may put you to sleep. Like the women's match may have put you to sleep, you know.
The Undertaker match.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I don't know. But this is definitely the pick me up that WrestleMania 19 needed. And this is definitely what kept this WrestleMania head above water and kept it a good one. Was matches like a tag team match, and
Right.
then coming right off of that and having this one,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. WrestleMania versus at the time the best in the
Y2J.
world. That's what he
And like
says.
you
Yeah,
said,
Y2J,
Jericho's no
best in the world.
slouch.
No
You said the
way. No
Ayatollah of
way.
rock and rolla, the man of 1,004 holds, the Lionheart, the Gift of Jericho, the Demo God, the Painmaker.
Those are later.
I was excited to see him wrestle. We've seen Shawn Michaels go for an hour long. Like you said, he wasn't gassed during this match at all. This was a good return for him. It was an excellent match and definitely a rewatch. I thought it was great. Both of them were really good. I was rooting for both of them. It was
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah, so that's a recommendation from you as well, I'm
It
assuming.
is.
So I
Yeah.
also agree with you all. Well, this is a recommended match for me as well. We saw Sean return, and he did not like hold back anything as far as this match is concerned. He he did have a couple of issues. Uh, before with his back and would he ever come back and wrestle, and we were never going to be sure that we'd get another Shawn Michaels match. But when we did get it and we didn't know how it would turn out, he delivered, and up to this point, I think there was only like one match that I probably enjoyed from Jericho, um, from the past 4 WrestleManias that he's debuted, when he debuted in WrestleMania 2000. So, um, this and that was kind of like another borderline match, but this was no doubt about no borderline matches here. You can like it was kind of like iffy on whether I would enjoy it when I seen that when Sean's coming down and he's failing to have those shooter guns with the confetti and only one side is working and the other side's not working.
Oh yeah, but he like ad libs it so well.
Yeah.
Like on the Shawn Michaels is that's one of the guys who definitely can ad lib and make the best of a shitty situation.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So I enjoyed that.
And then they make it up to him because I was like, I remember fireworks in this entrance, and they don't have
Yeah.
the traditional fireworks behind them because they put it all the way on top of the stadium and they try to pan the camera right to get that same angle so you get that authentic HBK entrance.
Yeah.
And that's so you knew he was back, and it was a recommended match for me, and I can't stop talking about Sean, but we must, and we need to move on. But this is definitely a recommended match. If you have not seen this match, if you're new to wrestling, just like my wife, and go do yourself a favor. We're recommending this match. Put aside maybe 23-25 minutes because you have to include the entrances. Pull up Peacock, go find it on
Or
YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, go out there and do yourself a favor. Add this match. This is a very great match that encompasses two performers, giving you not only storytelling of a few from the promos leading up to that match, but also in ring too.
And if you love wrestling as much as these guys do, and as much as I'm starting to, we also have a companion list for WrestleMania 19 with some interviews and some matches. So we've linked that on our YouTube page if you're interested and curious, like I am. So with that, do you all want to talk about the Miller Lite Gals, Katana Baker?
Yes, why not? Why not? Like, this is prime 2003 right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely it's like I was watching this with my girlfriend, and then like as this is happening, because she watches wrestling now, right? But she's been watching wrestling modern day. She hasn't watched this kind of stuff. So to go from like, past the women's revolution, past all that, past the evolution pay-per-view, past the women getting more airtime and more titles and all that, she's never seen the build for all that and what they went through, but she got to see this. And I was like, yeah, that's Tori Wilson. And somehow, some way, she gets inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame. And she does stuff like this. it's you know definitely a product of the time. I get it. Miller Lite, they probably paid them a lot of money for this segment.
Mm-hmm.
It was a dead crowd to it. It wasn't as like the funny part, having Coach in there was the funny part. Coach somehow gets his pants pulled all the way down,
Right.
and the coach is wearing tighty whities. So
Right.
I did totally forget about that. So when I saw
Yeah,
that,
me
I
too.
laughed because Coach, the man's now on ESPN. The
Mhm.
coach did some funny stuff back in the day. Like, he did some funny comical stuff for people on TV, and this was one of them. The man,
Mm-hmm.
dude, like uh, the man pulled his pants down in front of 50,000 people in his underwear. Like,
Right.
that's great. Like, when you look at it in a bigger picture, like, holy crap, I think this guy just pulled his pants down and now it's on Peacock forever.
Or on
But
YouTube, on the interwebs.
It's
yeah,
everywhere.
right. But yeah, I mean, whatever kind of segment. They were in like a bed that was like, it looked like two king size beds that they dragged out there,
Mm-hmm.
and then they were arguing all night over who's going to win, Stone Cold Steve Austin, or no, it was Vince. No,
Or
yeah, it was
Hulk.
Vince
Yeah,
and Hulk
Vincent Hulk
Hogan.
Hogan.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. They're gonna fight later. Okay. And then they introduced, Tori Wilson and Stacy into it. And this is at the time when I also had to quick grab the remote and pause and explain to my girlfriend, okay, listen, at this time, they allowed one WWE diva to appear in Playboy every year. And I was like, they no longer do this, unfortunately. But but yeah, definitely a different time.
It
Because
is.
we don't have that now. Yeah.
That's kind of the interesting thing about going back to these is that you get to see that period of time, how everyone
Yeah.
dressed, what was in, and that has also been pretty cool. And now
Yeah.
that you say that this was supposed to be like, who's going to win, Hulk, or is it going to be McMahon? Then this segment or vignette should have been after this next match that we're going to talk about.
I think the reason it's not is because I think Hunter probably requested like a buffer. He
Mm.
learned from last year not to have like a real great match before him.
Oh
So
yeah.
That
he's
letdown,
like,
yeah.
I need to bring the audience back down. They just seen two great matches. They seen the great tag team match. They see Shawn Michaels come back and steal the show. Why did you come back, Shawn? Why?
Because
No.
he's just so great.
But
So it's
yeah, so they're like, put this bikini match, put this bed argument, whatever, this cat fight, bedroom cat fight match, and have coach, and then people will probably forget what happened between Sean and Y2J, and I'll get a fresh, clean audience in time for my match.
Yeah,
palate
the palate
cleanser.
cleanser.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So with that, that takes us to the next match.
Yeah, we got the world heavyweight title, which belonged to Raw at this time. So this is the one that they inherited from WCW. So it looks more like it's all Big Goldie, is what we used to call it.
Hmm.
So
This
uh,
match is really long for me, 18 minutes and 45
yeah, 18
seconds.
minutes and 45 seconds. We have Triple H versus Booker T, the five-time, five-time, five-time WCW champion.
So I hear that the storyline is really funky. It's a clash of personalities with some racial undertones, as Booker team to overcome Triple H's prejudiced comments. What do you think about this match, Wayne?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Hmm. You know what? This is not one of Triple H's greatest matches and feuds to go back on and revisit. Every wrestler has a feud that it's like you should go back and watch this feud, right? Everybody has it. Everybody has a match
Mm-hmm.
that's like Undertaker has a bunch of matches, but I wouldn't watch the Saudi one with him tagging with Kane against DX. Why? Because it's awful. That's why. Like everybody has a bad one. I think this feud was garbage. It was hot garbage. The story was hot garbage. I didn't believe for 1 second going into WrestleMania that Booker T was walking out world heavyweight champion. They didn't have me believe at all. You think they would. You think after all the crap that he was put through during this feud that he would be the guy to come out world champion, right? That's what it looks like. The good guy's going to win at the end, right? No, this is Triple H's reign of terror. It's starting. It's only going to get bigger. This one's going to snowball for Triple H. Another guy you keep your eye on. Like, granted, like Triple H is already far in his career, but it's really going to pick up. Now he's the world heavyweight champion, which, by the way, I love that title. I love
Yeah.
Big Goldie. Loved it. I just think it was maybe it wasn't a product of the time. Like these titles around this ruthless aggression era, I really enjoyed because I really like the undisputed title that Kurt Angle has too. Like it's just so gold, but this one had a different hue of gold to it, and it was just massive. It doesn't have a big W on it. You know, it reminded me of the WCW days, but if you look at it closely, it's tweaked just a bit. You know, the gold is a little off, you know. So this title gets a lot of, wonderful, holders throughout the next couple of years.
Mhm.
Because this is honestly, this is when Triple H is with Ric Flair. This is before Evolution. You
Mm-hmm.
know, this is and I Triple H went through this so I was a big Triple H fan back then. You know, I was always buying his shirts and stuff, but he was going through this weird phase, like where he was wearing like red trunks, blue trunks, purple trunks. What the hell? Like it was one of the weirdest decisions in his gear that he's made.
I'm
It
sorry,
just
did
it
you miss
was
the original, gear that he had
oh
where he looked like
yeah,
he was from the
yeah.
medieval time?
Yes. I yes, when he was oh
Blue blood.
the blue blood, yeah, from Connecticut. Yes. But after his DX days, after he's done wearing the DX gear and the green, but like Triple H just started. He always wore black trunks then, right? And that was like, The Rock has a look. The Stone Cold Steve Austin has a
Yeah,
look.
he
You
definitely
know,
does. Yeah.
everybody has a look, and then when they change up their gear, they look kind of weird. Some people we adjust to it. Some people we don't. Like I just thought about it like today, like when the other day I was watching this. Jericho used to wrestle in long pants all the time. And
Mhm.
then when he came to WWE, he came back,
Yeah,
left,
his
came
second
back,
coming of
whatever.
Jericho.
Yeah. He started wearing trunks. And then that's what he wrestled in for the rest of his career was just trunks. Even Hulk Hogan, like he stopped wearing trunks and started wearing long pants, and that's what he
Right.
wore. You know what I mean? Like everybody kind of tweaks their gear, and you kind of get used to it. Roman Reigns just recently, like not recently, what am I saying? Finally, it just feels like it. Finally lost the vest. He used to come out in this vest all the time, even when he wasn't in the Shield anymore.
Mhm.
So little tweaks in gear. So the purple gear, I did not enjoy it. Booker T, his best WWE run for me, my opinion, is when he goes to SmackDown and he becomes King Booker. I think that's one of his great runs because he becomes world champion and everybody forgets that he is the six-time champion. And I hear it all the time on commentary, all the time. They're like, "Oh yeah, Booker T, the 5-time champion," and Booker T be like, "Guys, that's a six-time, not
That's
not
right.
5-time. I won it 6 times."
I would
So
say that too.
yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, dude, like the 5-time gimmick was great, but you did win it 6. It's a shame he didn't win it any more than that. But he gets chipped here. Yeah, he gets a
Yeah.
WrestleMania match. He gets the big paycheck, but he also loses the feud. He gets kind of humiliated the whole feud. I didn't like the feud at all. I hated the storyline. Uh, I think Booker kind of falls into the tag team division or the
Mm-hmm.
Intercontinental. I can't remember where he kind of falls after this before he becomes King Booker and really levels up to like a main event status again.
Right.
Because I didn't watch Booker T in WCW, so I was on the other channel. I wasn't a channel flipper. I was dedicated. So
You were
I
dedicated.
I didn't watch Booker T matches. So Booker T coming to WWE for me was new. And I'm like, oh, why? I never understood it. I heard this guy was a 5-time world champion. He's a great athlete. He has a great move set.
Mhm.
He has the scissor kick and he has this bookend that looks similar to the rock bottom. He does the
Right.
spinneroonie. He has a great gimmick. He has great music.
Love
Like
the
Booker T
spinneroonie.
has it all. He has it all, right? So
Mhm.
like, why would they never give this guy his deserved title?
I agree
And
with
so
you.
kind of, even though I was a Triple H fan, I was frustrated with this feud. I was frustrated that, well, at least if you guys are gonna give me a shit feud, at least get the title of Booker T. And they
Well,
didn't do that either.
you and the fans during this match were also rooting for Booker T.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of Booker T. I enjoy his wrestling. Like you said, some of his classic moves and his spinneroonie, but this wasn't that great of a match for me. Was it a rewatch for you, Wade?
No, Not at all. It was. I mean, I guess sometimes it's good to revisit these kind of things and remember why you hated him so much. But I was like, man, I never thought I'd see this match ever again, but here we are. Here we are. So
You're like, thanks to Carlos and Maria.
here we are. I'm really, because it's like sometimes I try to put out of my mind what the storyline was and try to focus on the match itself.
Right.
But it just wasn't there for me. And Ric Flair there doing his Ric Flair thing. It's crazy where
preferred him
two...
here than in WrestleMania 18, though. So
yes, oh yeah,
yeah.
At least these guys, they go on to have great careers after this, even better careers. So it's just up and up for all three of these guys. So
I'm also passing on this match, mainly because I felt like the right book or the right decision that should have happened is Booker T should have won.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that at this point in time, we all know that Triple H is just like pulling strings and getting what he wants to do. We all know that he is a good, like, he's good on the mat, he's good on the mic, but sometimes you have to know when to take the fall and have it elevate someone else, or when it's time to step aside and have someone else have a time to shine, because it's not only going to benefit you, but it benefits the company, because the fans, they might turn some people off, and they may not want to come back, especially on a WrestleMania. You get those new fans, and you get like people like fans like that might be my wife. This would have been her first WrestleMania, and she gets turned off because Hunter ends up putting himself over Booker T, and she never wants to go out there and buy a Booker T shirt anymore. But I digress into something that it probably shouldn't have gone. But this match has some good spots. But the thing that I believe that kills it is just the storyline, the build up to it. They're building all these racial tones, especially Jerry Lawler. And I know this is what is being fed to him either by Vince or someone in the back, but they keep adding that. I think there was one line about Booker T where he ends up. I think they say that the king. I might be butchering it, but that Booker T did not have anything to go to after school, and so he ended up going to prison or something like that. It might be butchering it, but it was something along those lines where Booker T had a rough life and he's a criminal and things like that. And that I understand what they were probably trying to do, but we've gone past that, and it should have just been Triple H versus Booker T. Just build it as a face and a heel. Build it up as Triple H screwed Booker or something else, but don't build it on a type of classism type of feud.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons why I can't recommend this.
Booker of Excellence deserves more than that.
Yeah,
I agree. Yep.
And with this, we'll move on to match number 7. The Battle of Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan.
Is this regular Hulk Hogan or Hollywood Hulk Hogan?
This is still technically regular, but he goes by Hollywood. He's adopted the persona that he had when he was NWO Hulk Hogan. He still keeps those long trunks, like the pants.
Right.
Yeah.
NWO Hulk Hogan used to wrestle in jeans, and he adopted the boas. They used to be black and white, and now they're red and yellow.
The intro to this match pissed me off.
Why?
Because they bring up Hulk Hogan testifying. So I feel like that was just people being like a petty patty. No offense to the patties out there. But I was just, I'm like, why do we have to bring that up?
Because that's just Vince. And underneath the layers, Vince is always going to find a way to remind you that he knows that you did something to him. And this was a match where it was probably something like that, but he just brought it up in like in a joking manner, and he's like, "Oh, Hulk, what if we make this whole storyline about who came up with WrestleMania, who was the king, who's the architect, and then we talk about how you betrayed me and you testified against me in the steroid trials. That'll be great, right?"
Okay. So I know what I think, and I know what annoyed me during this match. Wayne, what do you think about this match?
You know what? Vince McMahon, right? And Vince McMahon versus anybody, it's worth watching. Why? Because it's Vince, you know? Like, again, this is a time like Andrea has seen modern day Vince, like old man Vince. She saw him at WrestleMania last year, get stunned, and he looks brittle. Well, guess what? He's not. So when she saw him, take it off, and Vince McMahon is jacked. Vince has like traps. I'm just like, Vince, like, how do you get these, Vince? What are you doing? What are you doing to get these? Like, how are you getting so jacked? Like, I just forget how buff he was back then.
Yeah, for
I
a
guess they didn't.
57-year-old man,
He
57,
was in
58, he
excellent
was in
shape. He
great
I
shape.
guess
was.
I guess you don't have to take drug tests at your own company, huh? So,
Is that what it was?
I understand the bringing in the personal stuff to hype the feud, right? I mean, you have to. These guys have such history together, and also their promos weren't the best. If you were watching them on SmackDown, there were so many times where like Hulk was flubbing his lines, and you could see him on YouTube. It's bad. So like they made the best out of this promo video, because I was like,
Right.
oh yeah, I remember the promo video is pretty good. The music, the Vince is very animated with his face, so like his facial reactions, and we see it in this match too. I actually enjoyed this match. I didn't think I was going to, because I mean, it's Vince and Hulk. Like, what are they? They're not going to put on a 5-star match, but they did a pretty decent job. 20 minutes, and they kept me interested. The one thing you'll see in this that you won't see today is headshots with the chair. You won't see that today. Chair shots to the head are not allowed anymore. So, and there was a lot of blood in this match.
Right.
But it played very well, because I really enjoyed the whole reveal of like Vince's face. He's just hiding there, and he just
All
curls
bleedy.
up, and
Yeah, he looks
he's all
murdery.
blood. Yeah, right. So like the way that camera panned is so iconic, because like when I think WrestleMania 19, there's like a few things I think about. Rock Hogan, the shooting star press, and I think of the bloody face from Vince. You know what I mean? Like that's an image you can take away from this. The ladder spot, Vince taking a ladder spot with a leg drop on through the announcer table. So these are a lot of things you won't see Vince do today, like for damn sure. But Vince took spots, he took spills, he was willing to do it. Vince, as I know, would never ask a wrestler to do something that he himself wouldn't do. Because I heard of him jumping off of high places to prove to wrestlers that, like, if I can do it and I'm an old man, then you can do it. So yeah, it's a lot of good spots for these two guys. I enjoyed all the chair spots. I enjoyed the table. I think it's because, like I said, it's no means by 5-star match, but I think it's because it just took me back to a time when we allowed a lot of blood in WWE, when we allowed steel chair shots. And I understand why we don't, right? I get it. I'm not saying let's bring them back.
You're like, bring on the concussions.
I know, right? It just took me back to a simpler time, because now, like, you do chair shots and stuff, like people hit them on the back, but like when you have somebody maybe like you, Maria, like who hasn't seen stiff chair shots this often, because you don't see them anymore. So seeing something like that's got to be like, ooh, that's That's gotta hurt, you know. Yeah, I mean, good match. I'd go back and revisit it. At least watch the promo. Uh, did you guys notice something about Hulk Hogan's entrance music?
Yeah, Limp Bizkit tried to play the Voodoo Child remix and failed miserably.
It
Oh.
was awful. Awful.
I figured they're in Seattle that Vince could have at least ponied up the money for the actual rights to
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
Jimi Hendrix's sister to get that music, and
But he
he
does
didn't.
he does at some point though, right? Like
I
either
I haven't
I
heard it
thought
because they didn't play it either in
no, they
the
didn't play it,
WrestleMania
but
18.
yeah, no, they a couple it's gonna be a bit, but
Uh,
they'll start using it. Um, you know, I just thought that like they just did like a different audio for it, or like yeah, Limp Bizkit played for it. But I was like, that's not what he comes out to. I was like, because I was singing the music before the music hit, and then when that music hit, I was like, oh no. So yeah, I go back and revisit this match. Why not? Right? You're not going to see old man Vince or Hulk
Jack,
wrestle like this again.
old man
Well,
Vince,
like yeah, you're not going to see him jack like that.
56,
Like
57
you
year
know,
old.
because honestly, I cannot think of any Hulk Hogan matches after this that were very memorable. Same thing
Mm,
with Vince. I
okay.
really can't. I maybe for Vince, maybe a few. I know he had a good one with Kevin Owens, but maybe, but I can't think of many. So go back and watch it. You know.
if you want to see Vince bleed like he's never bled before,
That's
Wayne recommends that
Yeah.
you watch this match.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
like watching a John Moxley match. You know.
yeah, I do not recommend that you go back and watch this match.
what?
And let me lay it out for you.
Let me
One,
tell you something, dude.
the entrance. Vince did not want to pony up money. They're in Seattle, the birthplace of Jimi Hendrix. Pay them their monies and get the music when you're there. Number two, what did Hugo Savinovich do to take a chair shot? He's standing there minding his own business, and guess what? He gets hit in the head with the chair, and then he ends up bleeding, and he has to get carted out.
That was funny.
And then pretty much the third reason is, well, actually, it's a 3 and a 3A. This is a street fight.
Yeah.
They
only
don't go anywhere. They don't even go back to the entrance ramp or an entryway. Um, they do not attempt to go into the crowd.
Yep.
And for some reason, they keep throwing the other opponent back into the ring. It's a street fight. You could do the pinfalls outside. You don't have to put them back in the ring.
Take your street fight to the street.
Yeah. And then the 3A is that they gave them 20 minutes and 47 seconds.
Yeah. I'm actually on the same page. Like I said, I didn't like the snippy intro. Is McMahon super strong, super buff? Bleedy McMahon interesting? Yeah, but my favorite part of this match is when Hulk leg drops McMahon for the pin and the win.
Oh, the 3 times.
And I was like, the match is over. I'm not that thrilled with seeing McMahon wrestle, but I can see Wayne's points. That's why I kind of asked what you guys thought about it. So this is a pass for me.
All right. And with that, we're moving on to the next match, match number 8 on the card. The match is Stone Cold versus The Rock. A WrestleMania rivalry comes to an end.
Do you guys feel like we had like 3 main events during this WrestleMania?
Oh,
Shawn
yeah,
Michaels,
sure.
Jericho, this match, and then Angle.
Yeah.
Well, technically the titles, quote unquote,
No title
the
for this one.
Triple H versus Booker T is supposed to be a main event. That's the Raw main event.
Okay.
Because right now we had the brand split. So that was their main event. And then SmackDown has their own main event, which is the main event, which will have Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar.
What do they call him? The Vanilla Gorilla?
Yeah, they do. Oh man. Okay,
Well,
so
yeah,
I
we'll
wasn't
get
the
to
only
that.
one who caught
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
No, yeah.
I was like, what?
Oh my gosh. So yes,
Oh.
The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to shout this shit because this was a great match. So
Yeah. So Rock, Stone Cold, did you finally make a choice? Or are you still like
I'm Team Rock.
You're Team Rock still. Okay.
2003 Rock looks great. I am also a fan of Stone Cold Steve Austin. This was an excellent match. They start wrestling right away, and it's great.
Mm-hmm. Wayne?
Oh, dude! Like, I mean, come on, dude! Just bring it. I mean, I'm a Rock fan through and through.
Yeah,
Like,
look at
I
him.
was just at this time. Obviously, like, how can you not be a fan of either or? Like, heel face doesn't matter. So for me at this time, it was like I really wanted Rock to get the W. Like, he's lost to Stone Cold twice already, and the rubber match is done. Like, you didn't beat him last time, dude. Like, you're not gonna win the feud, but you're not gonna win the war, but you want to win the battle. I guess kind of situation. But it was entertaining. The promo was great through and through. The match was great. These guys get 20 minutes or not 20 minutes, 17 minutes and 55 seconds. But what a 17 minutes we get, because like the build-up promo video was so badass for it.
Right.
They used the theme music for Wrestlemania, I believe, so that made it look pretty good. And this is the time when The Rock comes back and he's heel. He turned his back on the fans, or the fans turned their back on him, and because he went to Hollywood. And and The Rock played heel so well, and Rock being able to be heel and just trash talk everybody week in week. It was just great. I loved it, because he doesn't stick around much longer after this. Like, The Rock doesn't. Yeah, right after this, the very next night, he gets speared by Goldberg, who makes his WWE debut. He has a feud with Goldberg, and then I think that's kind of it. The Rock kind of disappears for a while, and then that's when The Rock becomes part-time Rock. And we saw him this year or last year. We only saw him twice. That's it. That's all we got of The Rock, but this guy could still go. And Stone Cold Steve Austin, like, he didn't want anybody knowing this is going to be his last match. Like, he didn't want it promoted that way. He didn't want nobody in the back to know. Which I get it, dude. Like, that's the way you want it. That's the way you want to go out. He didn't want to win the match. He wanted to lose. I guess if we as fans knew, then I guess maybe they would have put it as the main event. It's what a hell of a match to have to follow, though. And it's great. These guys were stealing each other's finishers.
Right.
To see the Rock do a stunner with the vest on, which was great. Throwing the vest on, and then Stone Cold throwing the Rock bottom, and then the Rock getting everybody got their moves in. He's got the people elbows in, and Seth throwing the elbow pads. He takes the vest, throws it. And it takes 3 rock bottoms to put Stone Cold Steve Austin down for the next 19, 20 years. I mean, that rock bottom put him down for 20 years, because it took that long for him to be like, okay, I'll do another match, and that's when we get him and Kevin Owens. But it's an end of an era for Stone Cold. Like, you think about the WrestleManias that you guys have been covering, with Stone Cold in it, and how he was like in the main event of a lot of those pay-per-views, how he was a big get for those pay-per-views, a big part of the story, and now it's like that's it. Like he's done. Like
Yeah.
he's taking his ball and he's going home. Like
This
and you know, all these wrestlers, out of all the pain that they go through, it's like well deserved. You know, there was many times over those 20 years where it's like, oh man, like if he could have one more match, he could do it against this person and this person. I'm like, yeah, but like he's happy. He's like retired. He retired like when he was at peak in pain, you know, with
right.
his neck and stuff.
Mhm.
So and uh yeah, and we find out too in this WrestleMania he's not the only one with neck issues. So
Right.
Mm-hmm.
but
Angle.
yeah, amazing match. Definitely go back and watch this match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is their third and final WrestleMania.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the end of their WrestleMania rivalry. This isn't
Mhm.
like this is like I went back and actually counted how many matches they've had,
Yeah.
and like one-on-one matches they've had like a total of 7.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh, actually, like title matches for championships, they've had like it's 5. But at WrestleMania, this is the third official match that they have um, versus each other. This is the only
Yeah.
one without a belt,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
this is the only one that also does not have any type of outside interference that makes the decision.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. This is
yeah.
another sorry, this is another one of those matches where like there's no title needed. Like
Mm-hmm.
I wish we could do more of that today where you can have 2 high caliber wrestlers like this and not a single piece of gold involved. So
Yeah, and it's just more about like sometimes the booker or whoever is coming up with the programs needs to remember that the titles are like an added bonus for you to have in the storytelling type of
Mhm.
yep.
process. It doesn't have to be this is the main reason. It could be, like someone like the Royal Rumble is primarily the time when we start getting all the threads being pulled and we get people be thrown aside and they're like starting the feuds during that Rumble. It
Mhm.
could be this guy eliminated this guy uh, from the Royal Rumble, and that's why the rivalry started. This guy, betrayed this guy during the Royal Rumble, and that's why that rivalry started. But there's a lot of things that you can do with the booking that doesn't always have to involve a title. And these are not only this match is an example, the HBK versus Chris Jericho is an example of matches that didn't have to have a title to be great matches or just to have fans there and actually enjoyed the storytelling that's being built up by the promos, the vignettes, the run ins, so on and so forth. So this is a match I recommend. It's not the best of the 3 matches, but uh, it's not better than one. I think this is like tied with the second one.
Yeah.
Uh, but I liked it that they finally gave us a clean finish. It looked like Stone Cold was supposed to probably get up after the second rock bottom, but
Yeah.
I think he's like, no, I'm done. Just give me a third one and let's go home
Yeah.
because
Let's go home.
he looked gas.
Well, at the end, The Rock whispered to him, "Thank you so much for everything that you've done for me." And he said, "I love you." They said, "I love you too." And that's just like a telltale sign of 2 people that are, one, masters at their craft, but also they have a lot of respect for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So this was excellent. Definitely recommend that you watch this. Tons of good spots. Like you said, we get to see Samoan drops, rock bottoms, spine busters. This is just really good. They move really well. They have really good chemistry with each other, and they're 2 excellent, iconic wrestlers.
Yeah. And with that, we get to the 9th and final match of this card.
The main event,
The main event.
Main
Brock
event.
Kurt Angle finally main events of WrestleMania.
Not an acute angle, a Kurt Angle.
Yeah, and he faces off against the youngest WWE title holder at this time,
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar. This match goes for 22 minutes even. Looks like. Maria, you are a fan of Kurt Angle?
I am. And this is a match I didn't think I needed to see, like a Brock Lesnar
Mm-hmm.
and a Kurt Angle, but this was a pretty good match.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar gets hit against a turnbuckle, power slam by Kurt Angle. We get a suplex. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of good spots during this match.
Yeah, but you are also a fan of Brock Lesnar,
I
but
am.
you are more of a fan of Suplex City
Mm.
Brock Lesnar. What did you think about this younger version of Brock Lesnar?
Well, we have good moves by Kurt Angle. We see a press slam. And like you said, I am a fan of Brock Lesnar. He's great. We have a lot of good suplexes from both Lesnar and Angle. Um, I was excited to see them wrestle. It was good.
Yeah,
Wayne, what about you?
Oh man, dude, what a great main event! What a great way to end this pay-per-view. You have a very green Brock Lesnar, but like Brock may be green, but he's still very experienced in the
Right.
wrestling aspect. And to be in the ring with somebody like Kurt Angle, like I was so excited to see this match. 'Cause I didn't care who won. It was one of those matches where I was like, I don't care who wins. Like Kurt Angle is doing his Team Angle thing right now, so he's like a badass heel. He's got the WWE Championship, which I thought looked cool. He had the awesome matching ring gear, the jumpsuit or whatever,
Right.
and then the tag. See, like stables, I don't know, stables that have matching like gear, matching theme music, big.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I always like that. I really like that aspect. I always hate when you have stables that don't have any gear and they come out separately, but yeah, Kurt Angle's that he's not even, I don't even think he's really peaked because he leaves after this match because he had prior neck injuries before this match. He got hit with a steel chair a couple weeks before and it really messed up his neck like really bad.
Was
And
he a boxer before this?
No, he was a wrestler,
He
an
was a
Olympic
wrestler?
wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An Olympic wrestler like Kurt
yeah.
Angle?
No, you're talking about Brock?
Yeah.
Oh,
Brock
no,
Lesnar.
Brock is a wrestler just like Kurt Angle was, but he didn't go to the Olympics. He
Okay.
came straight to WWE.
Mm.
And then he goes off maybe like was it 2006 or 7? He goes off to UFC.
Because they brawl,
Yeah.
but you could see that they both have like some technical wrestling aspects, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Like he's a former NCAA champion. Kurt Angle's a former
Yeah.
Olympic gold medalist. So even like on paper, this is a great match. And this is Brock when he's 300 pounds. This isn't like Brock who cut weight in UFC 265 pounds. This is big boy, big farm boy Brock, he decimated the roster to get to where he's at. Like he's also within the same time frame he defeated The Rock, became the youngest WWE champion at SummerSlam, and then it just snowballs into now the main event for the WWE title. Who can forget the infamous shooting star press that caused Brock Lesnar to have a concussion? The guy did the shooting star press and didn't even realize he finished the match. He didn't know where he was. Like he was recommended, day of that, I think you should do a shooting star press. And Brock's like, I haven't done it in a year or many years. He used to do an OVW. And a lot of people who think like Brock Lesnar should never try that new move that he's never done before, go on YouTube and look at Brock Lesnar doing the shooting star press in OVW. He did it a lot, and he did it very well. I understand, like, you haven't done it for a couple years. You probably didn't even take the time to, like, I don't know, maybe before the show started, you had a little bit of time to practice in the ring. Maybe I should try shooting star press on a bunch of mats, kind of practice before I do it in front of 50,000 people. But yeah, he fell short. I remember watching this, like, oh, I think he broke his damn neck too. I think after tonight, everybody's gonna have a broken damn neck.
Kurt
But
Angle broke his neck during this,
yeah,
or had a broken neck
No,
during
yeah,
this
yeah,
match.
yeah. He had, yeah, and just when Kurt got backstage after the match, like after the adrenaline wore off, he went numb and he started shaking violently, and they had to rush him to the ER right away. Like it's crazy. Like and later on throughout the years, when a lot of these guys get older, we see that too with certain wrestlers. Like after WrestleMania, they
Right.
they immediately go to the emergency room. We've seen that with Undertaker, and actually. And I totally forgot to bring this up, but Stone Cold was in the hospital the day prior. He was in the hospital because his heart rate accelerated, and he believed he was having a heart attack.
Wow.
And the man went to the hospital Saturday night, and he got out, Sunday morning. Like, holy crap! What if?
Right.
Like a lot of people don't know that. Like Stone Cold almost didn't wrestle. Kurt Angle almost didn't wrestle. Like there was talks about Kurt Angle losing his title on SmackDown in a 30-second match.
Right.
Like that was a real thing. Like that they were like, we're gonna lose it in 30 seconds. But like he didn't want to do that. Like he wanted to go out on his own terms. And Kurt Angle was always, I heard, tough to work with when it came to like, maybe you should take some time off, Kurt, and maybe you should, get your neck looked at. But he was a workhorse. The guy I remember like they wanted him to take time off and he didn't want to do it. And there was a point where he didn't re-sign with the company, and Kurt Angle went to Impact Wrestling. And this was probably where a lot of his best work was in Impact Wrestling. It's crazy to think that, because when he came back, he was goofy as shit.
Wow.
This, oh my god, amazing match. You gotta be
Kurt
a fool
Angle, if
to.
you're hearing this, I'm a big fan.
Oh
Yeah, we're hoping to go
Pittsburgh native.
Go see him. He's gonna have an autograph session nearby the day of the Royal Rumble. So
it's true. It's damn true.
So
no, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
To see Kurt Angle now. I mean, dude, that'd be great. Like the guy's held how many championships? Like, he was not a guy to ever sleep on. Like, Kurt Angle was a guy who came into the business who didn't know anything about professional wrestling, and adapted and picked it up so fast. And he was just he could be serious, he could be a heel, he could be a goofball. There was this feud with Shawn Michaels that was great. Like he was a really good heel for that. And then then you have like general manager Kurt Angle, or like goofy Kurt Angle wearing the little tiny hat, drinking milk, playing the guitar,
right,
singing with Stone Cold. Like
that was fun.
He has range. The guy has range. And Brock just becomes this unstoppable beast for the next few years. Then he leaves in 2004. It's actually a year after this he leaves, and then we don't see Brock for a while, and then he comes back and he becomes the apex predator of our species. So both of these guys have great careers after this.
Yeah, he goes off to Japan. I had that mixed up. So he goes off to Japan before he goes to join the UFC, and then returns back in 2012.
I did forget that he did go to Japan for a little bit, because dude, the guy was big over in Japan. I mean, like, Brock, you think like the average size of Japanese wrestlers over there, and then you got a guy like Brock Lesnar coming in. It's like, holy crap! Like, this guy is just crushing people. You want to see a good match from him over in New Japan. There's actually a good match between Brock Lesnar and Shinsuke Nakamura. Check that out.
They don't call him the Beast Incarnate for nothing. I was
Mm.
like, that guy is strong.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what do you think? Do you recommend this match? Do you have anything to add about the match, or what?
I definitely recommend that you watch this match. Like we said, we have a real life Olympic gold medalist, Brock Lesnar, former NCAA Division Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, and you will have a good time watching the Wrestling Machine and the next big thing. So do
Yeah.
yourself a favor and watch it.
And Wayne?
Dude. Yeah. Even just this pay-per-view overall was great to revisit. Great to revisit. We did talk about some sleepers, but there was a lot more good quality matches than there was bad ones.
Yeah.
So that's why I think this is a good pay-per-view. After the past to have to follow up WrestleMania 18, to have to follow up Hogan and Rock,
Mm-hmm.
to have to follow up Jericho and Triple H. Like, this was a great follow-up. And so much of those characters evolved in 1 year. And then we talked about a little bit here how much they evolve even further 1 year. Who leaves, who quits, who passes away, who actually becomes a WWE champion for the first time. So much is going to happen. And it's good to see that a lot of these wrestlers are still wrestling today.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are still alive, still wrestling today. And then the ones that are retired still kind of do work for the company. So,
it's true.
Yeah. And as for me, I also recommend that you guys revisit this match. This is a great match that shows the technical skills between these two guys. They start off the match slow, but it kind of slowly builds. You have to you got to remember that for 4 months ago in Survivor Series, Brock Lesnar had lost the belt, so he's coming back. But it hasn't been that long since he made his WrestleMania debut, and I believe it was in right after WrestleMania 18, like in May or either mid May or late May of that month. So if you think about that time frame, like that's not 10 months that he's been making waves, and Vincent trusted him to go out there and not only have this match, but also he gave him the belt now for the second time in 10 months.
Yeah. I mean, this guy beats The Rock,
Mm-hmm.
and then he loses his title to the Big Show at Survivor Series, if I recall.
Right, because of Paul Heyman.
Yes, and I think Big Show loses it to Kurt Angle, and that's how it makes its way back to Brock Lesnar. It's crazy how that worked out. Like you said, being able to hold the title 2 times in less than 10 months, and both of those matches were high caliber matches. Like, young man too, young Brock.
Yeah, 25 years old, 26 years old, I believe, when this match actually takes place.
I will say Brock, he was 25.
Yeah, he was the youngest when he
did
won
not
at
look
25.
25
No, he looks like he's one of those people that look like he would have been like 45.
Like, sir, 25. What?
And this is before Sable got her claws into him too.
So yeah.
Wrestling tea.
Let's go ahead and give a little recap here before we sign off here. So, WrestleMania 19 was a showcase of unparalleled athleticism and storytelling, featuring some of the biggest names of professional wrestling during that era. The event kicked off with a high-flying encounter between Rey Mysterio and Matt Hardy, setting the tone for the adrenaline-fueled night ahead.
The women's champion match witnessed Victoria defending her title against Trish Stratus and Jazz in a fierce triple threat battle, showcasing the evolving role of women in the wrestling landscape. The HBK returned to face off against Jericho and give us a masterclass in storytelling, athleticism, and emotional intensity. This match not only delivered in the ring, but also outside of the ring.
Yeah, and the night continued with the street fight between Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon for the bragging rights, or for the right to be the guy who says that they created WrestleMania. The bitter rivalry reached its climax as the two titans clashed in a brutal and dramatic encounter that left them both bloodied by the end of the night.
So, WrestleMania 19 also featured a historic encounter between The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin in their third and final match at WrestleMania. The anticipation and energy surrounding this epic showdown were palpable as two of the biggest icons in the industry collided in a battle for supremacy. The match delivered on its promise, solidifying the legacies of both The Rock and Stone Cold in the annals of wrestling history.
The main event showcased Kurt Angle defending his WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar, and a technical masterpiece that we all enjoyed, and obviously everyone in the crowd did too. These two wrestlers, and we mean wrestlers because they were actually college like trained and everything, engaged in an intense battle, with Lesnar ultimately coming out victorious, even though he doesn't remember how he won it, and signaling the beginning of a new era in WWE.
So,
And
with that, do you want to
with
wrap
that,
up our matches?
yeah, we'll just go ahead and go through our recommended matches.
Wayne, what are your favorite matches out of this WrestleMania?
Ooh. It's going to be the tag match for the SmackDown tag titles. It's
Hmm.
going to be The Rock versus Stone Cold, and it's going to be Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle. Oh, and to cap that, I think probably the best match you're going to get is Shawn versus Jericho,
Yeah.
even though it's
Okay.
smack down the middle of the show.
Okay.
I think we're twinning except for that McMahon and Hulk. So I'm on the same page.
Yeah, and as for me, I recommend the matches. The kickoff: Matt Hardy versus Rey Mysterio,
Yeah.
the three-way tag team. HBK versus Jericho. The Rock versus Stone Cold, and the final match of this card: Brock Lesnar cementing his place as the apex predator. Oh, actually, he's not the apex predator. That's Randy Orton. He's coming soon.
He's also one of
But
my
as the
favorites.
beasting of this company. So, Wayne, do you have anything to plug, or where can the people find you if they want to get more of your tidbits?
Yeah, we have this wonderful podcast, PCW Podcast Championship Wrestling. We recently just went over our Slammy Awards, so all of our awards for 2023. Man, it wasn't a long episode like last year's. Oh, last year's was like 4 hours. So I just re-listened to it, but it was great. It was such a good episode. I'm excited to get it out there. We have this little window where we're going to be doing the Royal Rumble predictions
Hmm.
then. And I found some new wrestling fans on some social media. And we bringing them on, giving them some interviews, get to meet some new people. I like bringing more people into our wrestling podcast community. Just letting it grow, getting larger, you know.
Yeah.
So you can find all our PCW stuff everywhere, everywhere. We have a Facebook page where we have our website on onpodium.com, and we also sell merchandise on pro wrestling tees. So
Awesome. And with that, please remember to like, comment, and share this video with your fellow wrestling fans, enthusiasts, heels, marks, baby faces, rudos, technicals, whoever you want to have opinions with, and be like, these guys, they're wrong, or these guys actually nailed it. Please, you know, share us. We're going to load up the audio version of this podcast on Monday. It'll be available on all audio podcast formats: Apple, Spotify, Google, Audible, Spreaker, wherever you find. Well, we're there. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Our next show will be WrestleMania 20. And yeah, the double X's. And
Nice.
we'll be filming that and we're putting that up on Sunday, January 14th. That's going to be a 2 p.m. Central show.
Cool.
And with that, thank you very much for joining us again, Wayne. To anyone listening,
Thank you for
have a great night
and watching. Have a great night.
Peace.